How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video we're going to be talking about the Game Week 29 preview. We're going to be going over Leicester options, whether you should be keeping them, as well as taking a look at some differentials. To start off with, we'll be talking about the effect of Twitter before those Game Week deadlines and how it came into play for Game Week 28. So without further ado, let's get into the preview. Thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. Link down below if you do want to use my download link to download this wonderful app. Thanks again for sponsoring the video. If you don't know, OneFootball is the everything football related app. It's free to download on iOS or Android, and you can see there on the table. I'm following the Premier League right now. Gives me all the goals, assists, and whatever I need to know, as well as following my favorite team if I do want to follow a team, which is for me Liverpool, but for you it could be anyone else. Also, if you want to track more leagues than just the Premier League, go and check out this app. As I said, link down below. So a quick reminder about the FA Cup fixtures. A couple of teams will be playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so just keep your eyes on those. A lot of big teams such as Chelsea are taking on Liverpool, so if Liverpool choose to play a full strength side, I reckon a lot of us are going to have some of those players, so just monitor those minutes and keep an eye out for your injuries. Now I wanted to start off the preview with a very important point, and that is please keep your transfers till as late as possible. We have two reasons here. The first one is that Liverpool finally are playing the first game of the game week again, so we probably will be getting some team news about that starting 11. So Liverpool, relatively big club, a lot of journalists surround the club, so I'm pretty sure we'll be getting some tips on who exactly will be starting, and I know a lot of us own those Liverpool players, so just please keep your eyes on that team news. And you saw it this week how important team news does happen before that deadline. Now the other point, and probably the main one, is that the blank Game Week 31 fixtures will be confirmed at this deadline. So the reason being, those FA Cup fixtures I spoke about a little bit earlier on, after that round of FA Cup fixtures, we're going to be knowing which teams will be blanking in Game Week 31. And the reason why that's quite important is that I think it's now the time to prepare for blank Game Week 31, especially if you don't have a free hit or a wild card. You could have those chips and you just don't want to use it in blank Game Week 31, but you're still going to be having to use your free transfers to kind of navigate this blank, as it is going to be quite a big one. So I will be making a video, as I usually do, the ultimate guide to blank Game Week 31, hopefully coming up later on in this week or next week, so just keep your eyes out for that one. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of a reminder here about your transfers and just try and keep them as late as possible. So I spoke about in the introduction the effect that FPL Twitter had on this game week, main reason being Jamie Vardy. So news came around about 2 hours before the deadline on Friday night that Jamie Vardy wasn't even going to make the squad. News came that an injury had been picked up in training and that the English striker wasn't even going to make the bench, which threw FPL Twitter into quite a frenzy. This is just an example of the little added advantage you have from being on Twitter. Now, whether it is an advantage is another complete talking point. Maybe you consider that just keeping Jamie Vardy and not kind of rage transferring him out was actually a better decision, as he does have a nice fixture coming up, but I do think it was a little bit of an advantage, especially this game week when other striking partners for other clubs ended up getting a lot of points. So a lot of people, including myself, managed to transfer Jamie Vardy out before that deadline, and as I said, I did think it was a little bit of an advantage. So if you're not on Twitter and don't have a Twitter account, I would highly recommend it. You could also use a news source such as Reddit, but I think with Twitter those push notifications are just a lot better, and if you are on FPL Twitter, just go follow me at Dayvy FPL. So getting on to the first thing of this video that kind of relates to FPL and the players, our watch list. Now I have 3 players here that are proving increasingly difficult to not bring into my own FPL squads just because of how well they've been performing. I mean, look at Calvert-Lewin, 6.3 million and has scored 13 goals. That's absolutely remarkable for that price point, and he seems to be getting these early goals every single game week, which for his owners is probably the best thing ever because you almost guaranteed that return for the rest of the game week. But he's playing really well. A couple of tough fixtures, but I mean, United was a tough fixture and he even managed to score on that. You could argue that it might have been a little bit lucky, but as he said in his post-match interview, he counts them all. So those 13 goals are looking really good, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be scoring some more until the end of the FPL season. And at that price of 6.3 million, he's proving a very attractive option for the likes of maybe even Danny Ings, who hasn't been performing that well. The next player, Doherty, 6.1 million, 4 goals and 5 assists is absolutely remarkable for a defender. And the reason why I have him on this list, after watching that Spurs vs Wolves game, he was one of the most forward players. If you go watch his goal, he was playing almost like a centre forward, even in front of Raul Jimenez. So for a player that gets that forward and is linked as a defender, I can absolutely get behind that player, and he definitely looks like someone that should be on your watch list, and maybe even someone that you should be bringing in pretty soon. Now the next player probably needs no introduction. Bruno Fernandes yet again scored against Everton, racking up those 3 bonus points as well. For 360 minutes, 2 goals and 2 assists is absolutely remarkable. And at that price point of 8.3 does look very attractive, and someone that I'm going to be looking at for the upcoming game weeks. I don't know if I'll be jumping on it right now, but he does still look good. So the next talking point we're going to be going over is differential watch. So this is basically an extended watch list, if I'm honest, but these are players that I've highlighted that have really low ownerships. As far as I can remember, they were all below 5%, maybe even lower than that. So these are definitely some players that you should be looking at, and they are doing quite well. So the first one, Sarr from Watford. So I know that any player that does well against Liverpool is always going to be talked about, but Sarr has had the stats to back him up. 5 goals and 4 assists, coming in at that 6.2 million mark. Fills kind of a void where a lot of midfielders aren't performing at that price bracket, and he's played over 1,000 minutes, so looks like he's become a little bit more adjusted to that Premier League and the pace of things. And with Watford's fixtures coming up, they're not too great, not too bad, but if he can do it against Liverpool, I'm pretty sure you can do it against anyone else. Then we have Diogo Jota. I brought him in this game week, comes in as well at 6.2 million, and proves a nice little partner to Raul Jimenez if you do own him, and he's kind of hit form right now. I know it's a little bit late in the FPL season and his stats at the beginning weren't too good, but I think that if in the form that he's in now, he's going to be doing quite well to the end of the season, and the way Wolves are playing, they're going to be looking good as well. The only thing that kind of hinders me about Wolves a little bit is the fact with Europa League, I'm pretty sure they're going to be prioritizing that competition, and as I said, with the form Diogo Jota, and he's definitely going to be playing those Europa games. Then the last one, Marcos Alonso, has been doing quite well for the past couple game weeks now, and anyone who has played FPL in previous seasons really knows about Marcos Alonso and the attacking threat he has. Similar to Doherty, he just gets forward so much, and he really has a good left foot on him. He's one of the best strikers of the ball that I can recall, and for a defender, that's even better. So it comes in at 6 million, cheaper than he's been in previous FPL seasons, but you can see there, 768 minutes, hasn't played a lot, but it seems like he's been coming into Frank Lampard's plans in his starting 11 for the couple of past game weeks, so I do think he's looking as a prime option to look at, and I don't really think that Frank Lampard can drop him with the form he's in. 4 goals and 3 assists, most of those have come in the previous couple game weeks, so I can definitely see him continuing that form. So this is just some stats from Fantasy Football Hub to back up why Marcos Alonso and Sarr from Watford are so good. So I've ranked them here on per start points. So as you can see, these are the top 2 players out of the entire FPL season on points per start. So Marcos Alonso leading there with 10.5, and then Sarr with 9.5, and 9.5 is nothing to be shy about. That's absolutely outstanding, and those stats are completely above everyone else. So you can just see if these players continue to start in their respective squads, I can really see FPL points going into your squads, and that's why I'm kind of looking at them for potential transfers in. So Leicester Assets, as I said earlier, I transferred Jamie Vardy out. Whether I come to rue that transfer is yet to be seen. Aston Villa at home is a lovely fixture to be said, but I still have Harvey Barnes. Hopefully he can cover that Leicester attack, but a lot of people are wondering now what to do with their Leicester assets. If you've held on to Jamie Vardy, I would think to keep him for this Aston Villa fixture. I don't see any reason why you would transfer out a Leicester asset before Aston Villa at home. Probably one of the best fixtures in the Premier League. Maybe away you could argue that it's a little bit tougher, but I do think because it is a home fixture, I do see Leicester scoring a couple there. So their form is not the best, as you can see on the bottom there. 2 losses, 2 draws, and 1 win in their last 5. But I am hoping and expecting them to kind of bounce back from these bad results. And if you are a Leicester fan, you're probably hoping that they still manage to get the top 4. And I think if they're going to be getting the top 4, they need to kind of rebound and perform quite quickly. So if you do have Leicester assets, I think I would hold on to them, even if it was a defensive point of view. I think that Aston Villa at home could be a clean sheet for a player like Sionku or Pereira. But just keep your eyes out what the manager says in his press conference, as I do think there might be a little bit of rotation there from Brendan Rodgers in a reaction to how bad Leicester have been playing. So So the last talking point we're going to be going over is captaincy. So we've kind of taken a rotation of home captains, away captains, and now we're back to the home fixtures. So I've got Mo Salah here against Bournemouth at home. Obviously with any of these respective teams, you can go for anyone you want. As say you want to go for Sadio Mane, that's perfectly fine. I've just kind of got the poster boys of each club here, and Mo Salah is definitely a captaincy option at Bournemouth, especially because it is at Anfield. Then Aubameyang against West Ham. West Ham have been quite leaky recently. I know they had a good result against Southampton, but I do think Arsenal at home should be putting a couple past them. It is a little bit of a London derby as well, so I think that Aubameyang will do well in here, and I think that Arsenal have to prioritize this competition after being knocked out from the Europa League. And then finally, I've got Jamie Vardy against Aston Villa. This could be a really nice differential to go for if you still own the English striker. As I said, a lot of people probably transferred him out and could be quite a nice differential, but I think the main captaincies are all going to be on the Liverpool side of things. Mo Salah, probably the safest option to go for as well. And then I think if you own Aubameyang, there's no reason not to captain him. So this is basically going to wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please like it if you did, and subscribe if you're new or have not subscribed yet. I'll be catching you guys later on in the week for that team selection and hopefully an ultimate guide to blank game week 31. I'm Dayvy FPL, and I'm already signing off. Cheers, bye.